What's up, everybody? Welcome to another video in the Ideal Auto Factory. Over here, we do everything from vinyl wrapping to RC drift, conversations, talks, research and development, you name it. We're all about RC drifting and vinyl wrapping. So today we're going to be discussing the Sakura D6. You see the title, so let's not waste any more time. Keep God first. Matter of fact, did you read your Bible today? Did you do what it says? Did you surrender any part of your day to what God wants you to do? I know I did. And let's just say it's been a wonderful day. Did a couple of prayers, spend some time with the fam. But yeah, let's get into this video. So we did some changes, okay? I decided to say to myself, I was like, all right, so we spent all this money in certain places. Let's say you had an unlimited budget. What would you do? You would buy the most expensive thing on the planet and then consider yourself the best driver in the world, right? Nah, you don't do that. You don't do either one of those. You still got to do research on anything in the middle of whatever you're doing, because you don't just want to buy a 10 channel radio and have spent $1,000 on it and never use all 10 channels, right? That was shade. I'm being funny. I know the 10PX is awesome. Futaba is awesome too. But in my case, I have multiple chassis. What can I do to save a few dollars in the right areas that possibly allow me to spend money where money is needed most? So here I have the Sakura D6. If you notice, there's no servo in there. There's no gyro. I'm going to take this off. This right here. Just won't be using that either. So in the span of, I don't know, 30 minutes, I did some research, I did some looking, watched a couple YouTube videos, and I decided we're going to be throwing some new electronics at this bad boy. So let's check them out. So the first thing we're going to do is install this Endura RC servo. It is digital it looks like it's for a helicopter, but either way, I'm going to open this box, put that in. Then we're going to install the AGFRC Racing Gyro version 3.5, and this is the mini version. That together is like $65, somewhere in that area. And lastly, boom, we're going to install the transmitter and receiver onto this. So we're going to bind this remote to this chassis. Got the Hobby Wing set up there, Hobby Wing ESC and Hobby Wing motor. So money well spent here. Spent a good little chunk of change there. And then we're saving in this category. So I've spent about $110 from here to here total. And now you can buy AccuVance or whatever. I don't know what you would buy, a B-Rev or a that fancy touchscreen ESC, whatever. Either way, save money here, but does it equal good performance by saving money in this category and actually paying attention? So doing research and saving money, not just like, let's just find the cheapest thing and throw at it. No. Good reviews, good reviews, good reviews. They all got good reviews. So let's put it in there and see if it works. Now, as you saw previously, it was in the package. So I'm definitely doing this like with you all. My reaction will be pure because I have not opened any of these things. The only thing I've done is I've put a 2S LiPo in there to make sure it all worked so I can actually make the video. But here we are. This Endura SO14 servo here. You can see right there, it's a 14 kilogram strength servo at 6 volts, which is pretty awesome, to be honest with you. You don't need much more than that for drifting. Last tip before installing, I'm going to be removing the little nubs here, right there with the blade, so that I can actually mount the servo upside down. And just like that, we have installed a servo. Mostly me off camera, but you catch my drift. making sure it's in the center. That's what Jesus be. Jesus at the center of it all. Okay. A little moment there. So it's installed now. And these wires irk me, but I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. Next, let's get our gyro out of the package. Now, I'm not familiar with this gyro at all, but I have seen it. I've seen it, seen that people use it. So here I am. I'm about to use it. Look how small it is. It's like, it's as wide as the servo, and then look at that. That's it. That is wild. Oh, ooh, comes with its own little sticker there. Stickers. And then here's the, y'all gotta look at me for this one. Here is the manual here. EPA travel setting, gyro direction, dual gain mode, normal or AVCS. Adjust the sensitivity with the transmitter gain. You have negative 100 to 100 on your gain. Here we go. That one and that one. Let's set it down. We know where we want it. Same spot as where the Yokomo used to be. It says made in China. So they didn't ban TikTok, so they're not gonna ban this gyro. All right. It's a foamy one. It's not very sticky. It's a foamy kind of thing. So I'm gonna place my gyro, place it on there, right about y'all, right in the center. This thing is so tiny, y'all. It's so tiny. So now I'm coming in with a voiceover because my mic decided to make me sound like a robot. I think the battery was dying, but either way, we're gonna keep moving on and having a good old video. So this is me plugging in the servo side, so that part will go into the servo. And then after that, I plug in the side that goes into the actual receiver for the radio. So the channel 1 and the channel 3 are on the second plug. The servo is on the first plug. Here I am pulling out the Hot RC receiver, and it's an 8-channel receiver, pretty bulky but still light. It's not the biggest I've seen and not the smallest, of course. So I'm about to put it there, and then of course plug in my wires where they should go. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, nothing else to be said. So right about here, I'm plugging in my battery, and then from there, I'm going to do a bunch of things. I'm going to bind the receiver to the transmitter, the Hot RC transmitter. Then I'm going to calibrate the throttle. So that's from transmitter to receiver to the ESC. And then after that, I have to set my endpoints on the servo. And when I set my endpoints on the servo, after that, I have to set my endpoints on the gyro. So I'm going to be doing all of that. And it would be really great to have it all, raw audio, because everything was really simple. The Hot RC radio is very straightforward. That's the bind process. You push a button, and that puts the receiver into bind mode. And then all you do is push a button on the transmitter, of course, and then it all binds together. Notice the wheels are spinning in the back. Oh no, that means I have to calibrate the throttle because, of course, it's not calibrated. So I'm going to unplug the battery, do that process. Hobby Wing is very simple, and we're going to go from there. As you see here, I'm turning and there is no wheel turning left or right. That's because my servo is not connected to the servo horn. But the first thing you do when you turn on the radio is make sure your servo horn isn't connected so you can have the servo at the center position. So now I'm going to add my servo horn onto the servo and do the centering process in order for it to function correctly. I did have to adjust my turnbuckle just a little bit for the steering arm so that everything could be centered, but process is pretty straightforward. Go ahead, put your servo horn on after you powered on your servo, and then you'll be able to center your steering correctly and do all of that. So here you can see my wheel on the far right of the screen is not straight and the wheel on the left is. And now it is all perfectly centered. Everything's good. That's because I adjusted the turnbuckle. And we have the gyro not working in the correct direction. So that would mean that if I'm going sideways or trying to go sideways, it would want to turn me straight. So instead, what you have to do is go and hold this gyro for a couple of seconds, hold the button at least on the gyro, and then that light will flash. And now you change the direction, and therefore the servo will counter steer for you. Here, you need to adjust your steering endpoint. I am doing this via the gyro now, and if you look slowly, it's getting a little bit further to the left. It's dropping down the chassis. And then I'll end up letting go, and then you'll see me recheck to make sure I have the perfect EPA set, so that I'm not straining my servo first of all, but also I'm maximizing the effort that I put into the left steering and then also into the right steering. And once you complete that, once you know that you've gotten full steering left but not oversteering on the left, you go ahead and push the button on the gyro. Now over here you see me rechecking everything, make sure it's good, but now I'm steering and the wheel is returning very slow. I'm not doing that. The gyro is doing that. In that mode, I am not that well or skilled at, so I want to change that mode from AVCS mode to normal mode, where your steering goes the same speed no matter which direction you're turning or letting go of that actual wheel. I'm going to short press twice, and that changes the mode from AVCS to normal, and I get normal speed on my return once I let go of that steering wheel. So, as my face says, I'm smiling. I get a surprise because there's actual steering wobble because of how fast it is. But let's get out and drive this thing, because that is the main purpose. Does spending all of this little bit of money, make a difference? And there we have it, everybody. Servo, gyro, transmitter all work perfectly fine. You didn't have to match it. That was 3 different brands of equipment there. So I know it doesn't necessarily look the best in the car, but for the sake of saving money to possibly put towards a better ESC and a better motor, better being relative to what a drift car actually needs, you can save a lot of money, because we all know a Yokomo V4 gyro is $70. A Yokomo servo is $70. And it just goes up from there. So that's already $140. And we haven't even gotten into the discussion of a radio, a transmitter, and you've already spent $140 if you would go with, you know, drift spec electronics, dare I say. So going with a servo that you just saw in this video, I highly recommend you try it out, and also try that gyro out as well. You may already have a transmitter, so you're saving, maybe you're saving $70 where you don't have to buy a actual servo, or maybe you're saving yourself even more money by not spending what is now $100 and something on gyros. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You can clearly see there's no gyro wobble. There's no weird stuff happening. I am drifting perfectly fine. You saw me just put it on the ground and get going. So thanks for watching. Keep God first. I will catch you on the next video.